Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Financial Education Channel. I am Jeremy, here as always, and today we're talking about how to get a car loan. How to get a car loan as just a normal person, how to get a car loan if you have bad credit, how to get a car loan if you have no credit. These are all questions many of you guys have out there, and today I'm going to go ahead and dive right into this. How to get a car loan. Okay, basics you need. You're going to need to show proof of income. So you're going to need to show at least your last 2 pay stubs from your workplace. If you're an entrepreneur and you own your own business, you're going to need to show your last 2 years of tax filings. But most people will fall into the group of being employed by somebody else. So just your last 2 pay stubs are usually sufficient. You're going to need to show bank statements. You're going to need to show proof of address, at least a few different forms, and a few other little minor forms, but that's the major stuff you're going to show. Now, what are they looking for? Why are you showing this stuff? One, they want to know that you've been at a residence consistently recently. So if you've moved, let's say 5 times in the last 2 years, that's not going to look great on your credit as far as them judging you if you can get a car loan. They're looking for consistency. They're looking for you to have stayed places years or at least several months. Maybe you moved recently, but hopefully that last address you were living at, you were there for at least a couple of years. They're looking for someone that's not just switching states, switching jobs, because that's more of a risk to them than someone who stays in one place and works a consistent job and has the same amount of income coming in every month and whatnot than someone that's just here and there and then they're gone. That's more of a risk to them. As far as pay stubs go, they're looking for, well, one with the workplace, they're looking for work history as far as how long you've been with that company. The longer, the better generally. If you switch workplaces a lot, that's going to scare them because they're going to think, okay, maybe they're getting fired a lot, which isn't good because what if they get fired and they can't find a job? Well, then the car loan's going to come back to us and bounce back on the bank. So they're looking for job history, and hopefully if you've just changed jobs recently and you're trying to get a car loan, hopefully that previous job you were there a while, or that previous job you were there a while. That's a big thing. That's a really big thing that they're going to look for. They're also looking for how much you're making. Now, they don't care so much about if you have some huge income. What they care about is they're going to ask you your expenses, and they're going to ask you your expenses versus what you're making. So if you're making $700 a month, let's say, that's your income. So it's not very much, you're just working a part-time job or whatever, but you live at home and your only expense will be that car bill, and that car bill is going to be $300 a month. That means they have another $400 on the side that you can spend on other things. So that's a pretty safe car loan in their minds. Now let's say you make $10,000 a month. You're really making good money. But you have living expenses of $10,000? That means there's nothing left over, so that means you're actually a risk. So sometimes you can have a much lower income, but if your bills are much lower and there's more leeway in between them, that shows better than someone that has a huge income and has a huge amount of bills. And it only makes sense, right? All that matters is the gap in between what this car bill is going to be, this new car bill, and what your general expenses are. That's all that matters in the long run. So they're going to be looking for that. They're going to be, let's see, we talked about residence, we talked about pay stubs. They're going to be looking at bank statement. That's another big one they're going to look at. They're looking for, do you have some money in your accounts? So, before you go for your car loan, try to make sure you have some money in that account. $1,000, $2,000, maybe $3,000, because that's going to look much better. If you walk in there and your bank statement shows $53, if you walk in there and your bank account shows, $142, they're going to be like, holy cow, this person has like no money in their bank account. You want to show as much money as possible when you're going for that car loan, because that's going to make you have a lot better chance of getting that loan and also hopefully a much lower interest rate. Then they're going to check your credit, all those kinds of things. But I would say the biggest thing they're going to check is proof of residence for a while, your pay stubs, and what I just talked about, bank statements. Do you have some money in your accounts? So, and if you have a brokerage account with stocks in it, try to show that. Try to show as much as possible. Especially if you're one of those people that might have trouble getting a loan, because the more money you can show that you have in the bank, the more likely they're going to give you a loan. Now, let's talk about no credit. Let's talk about bad credit. They both are intertwined. They both are almost seen as the same when getting a car loan, bad credit and no credit. The easiest way to get a loan with no credit or bad credit is have someone co-sign, a spouse, a close family member, someone like that, that has good credit. That's the number one key. If you have someone that's super close, a parent, a live-in boyfriend, live-in girlfriend, a wife or a husband, a family member like an uncle or aunt you're super close with, and they have great credit, try to get them to co-sign if you feel comfortable asking them, and if you think they'll feel comfortable loaning, being on that loan with you, because they're also responsible. Once they sign their name as a co-signer, they're responsible just as much as you. So if you can get them, that's great. Now, for everybody, that's not an option, because some people, they come from some families, you don't have anybody that has good credit, or you don't have anybody that you feel comfortable with asking, for credit or to co-sign and whatnot. So let's say you're in that scenario. And one option is go with a credit union. What you're going to do, you'll open an account with a credit union, and they're more likely to give you a car loan than a bank is. Because if you have an account with them and you have a certain amount in that account, like say a couple $100s or whatnot in that credit union account, they're much more likely to give you a loan than say a bank is. Because credit unions they're just run differently. They're more mom and pop. They're more, they're looser as far as giving you a loan than a bank. I found that every single time. A bank, you're just another number to a bank. These banks are huge corporations we deal with. Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, these type of places, they're billion dollar companies that are run in New York City or Charlotte, North Carolina, or wherever. And you're just another number to them, so you're just a piece of paper to them, basically. And I'm not trying to put them on blast or anything, that's just the truth. You're just a piece of paper, and do you meet this requirement, and if you do, then it's a yes. And if you don't meet this one, then it's a no. With a credit union, sometimes it could be, if you didn't meet this requirement, they might look past it, and they might still give you that loan. So a credit union is the holy grail if you don't have someone with good credit who can co-sign. The credit union is the next best route. After that, I'll be honest with you guys, there's not a lot of good options unless you are making so much more money than your living expenses are. If you are making a drastic amount of money more than what your current living expenses are, and you have bank statements that show you got a lot of money in the bank, then they might bypass, oh, he's got a 500 credit score, or she's got a 400 credit score, or whatever. They might overlook that because they can see this income coming in, they see it's super low expenses, they see all this money in the bank, and they're like, okay, we might look past this one. They'll probably still give you a high interest rate. The banks, whoever's loaning to you there, they'll probably still make you pay a high interest rate because that credit score is low or because you have no credit. But you'll still get the loan because, they see that income, they see the bank statement or whatnot. So those are the three options you have if you have no credit, if you have bad credit. Family member that is close to you and has great credit, that's option number one, that's the best. Number two, have an account with a credit union. Or number three, be making so much money and have so much money in the bank that they'll overlook the credit score or the lack of the credit score. Those are your three options. So I hope this video today, guys, really explained how to get a credit loan, how to get not a credit loan necessarily, a car loan, how to get a car loan, how to get a car loan if you have no credit, and how to get a car loan if you have bad credit. They're very intertwined. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me, guys. As always, if you haven't subscribed, you may want to. We talk a ton about personal finance, like we did today. Talk a little bit about the stock market, making investments, and we talk about entrepreneurship and running your own business and being your own boss. Anyways, I thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, Financial Education Channel, and have a great day.